in high school, when I first started lifting weights, me and my friends would go to the gym and all we cared about was our bench press numbers. Every second week we'd hit a PR, and lifting became so addictive because we were just constantly making progress. The principle I'm describing is called progressive overload. And this doesn't have to apply to just the gym, but you could extend it to all areas of your life. And this is what makes discipline fun. So progressive overload is, if you don't know, if you're not familiar with the term, it's basically gradually increasing the resistance over time. So as you get stronger in the gym, right, you get stronger, you're going to slowly increase the weights, the resistance, so that you're able to push more, right? And it's the same with all the other areas of life when you apply this principle. You know, let's just say you want to get into meditation, right? You want to start meditating, but you find that like 20 minutes, it's pretty long to meditate, right? Especially when you first start out, your mind's a bit, your mental focus isn't there yet. So why not just start at 5 minutes? And then after a month, go to 10 minutes. And then after another month, go to 15 and then 20, right? So that's progressive overload. And the reason why that makes discipline fun is because just like in the gym, back in high school when I go with my mates, seeing that constant progress meant that I could tangibly see the results of the work that I'm putting in. And that's what made it so exciting, is because I just constantly, even just small increments, small bits of progress kept showing me that, yeah, the work I'm putting in, it's like I'm getting closer to my goal. And yeah, you can apply this to any area of your life. So I mentioned meditation. You can do it with your work, right? So let's just say in the morning, start it, just staying focused for 1 hour, right? And then over time, then you can go, all right, now I want to do 2 hours of deep work, and then 3, and then 4. It's the same with socializing, right? If you suck at socializing, you can't really speak to people, or, you can hold a conversation, but you don't really go out of your way to speak to people. But you want to become more social, right? I think anyone wants to become more social. Start to speak to more people throughout your day. When I walk my dog, for example, there's always people that walk past me on the footpath, and I'll just say, oh, hey, how are you going? Hope you have a good morning. Doesn't have to be that complicated, right? But when you do small bits of resistance like that, you're challenging yourself a little bit, right? It's not too hard to say hello, right? Unless your confidence level is so low, right? But if you're watching this, I'm assuming you know how to hold a conversation, right? You know at least how to start a conversation. Then over time, you want to progress that a little bit more, right? So maybe you're at the gym and you go up to a guy doing his set. Maybe he's got his headphones on and you're like, oh, hey bro, how you going? Right? And he's like, oh, got to take his headphones. Like, oh, hey, how you going, bro? And you give him a fist pump. And then over time, then you can start progressing it further. Now you can speak to attractive women or business people who look really high status, right? That would be like a bit further on, right? And then after that, then it would be, well, now you can give a speech in front of, a whole entire audience. That's just an example, right? But that just shows you how small acts of resistance now, right? Like in this example, talking to the person that you walk past on the footpath, right? If you continue to do these small bits of resistance over time, as you gradually get exposed to it, exposed to that resistance, you build that gains, right? Like the social gains in this case, or the meditation gains, or the stretching, if you're trying to get more flexible, stretching gains. Over time, you do it slow and slow and slow. You're seeing progress. You don't feel so discouraged, but it's fun because you're saying like, oh yeah, like a month ago, I struggled to talk to the person at the cashier. Now I'm like fist pumping the guy at the gym with his headphones on. And then like a year later, now you're just talking to a bunch of girls that you like. And you're like, oh, you're just like the social guy. Or you're in a business meeting and like maybe not a business meeting, but like, you speak to some high status business guy and you're like, oh, hey, how's it going? Can you show me how you got successful or something like that? Right? So I think the problem a lot of guys have, especially when it comes to, they want to be disciplined. They see people who are disciplined and they think, oh man, like I can't do that. But what would you say to the guy who just trying to start at the gym and he puts 60 kilos on bench press for the first time? You'd be like, just lower the weight. It's the same thing with you. If you want to get into running, why are you thinking about, oh, I got to run like 5Ks or I got to run, whatever number in your brain? Literally just start with half a kilometer if you have to. There's nothing stopping you right now. If you wanted to get into running and you've been thinking about it for a long time, there's nothing stopping you right now. I don't care how dark it is at night. I don't care if it's raining. There's nothing stopping you from putting on your shoes and just running half a kilometer around your block. That's it. Take you probably 5 minutes. You'd make more progress doing that than just sitting around and going like, oh, I can't really be bothered running, or like, oh, running's such an effort, or it's like, you don't have to get to 5 kilometers yet. Start at half a kilometer. And then in 2 weeks' time, do 2 kilometers. And then by the end of it, you'll be able to run so much further because you've applied the progressive overload. And the cool thing about this is it actually becomes fun because you're constantly seeing progress. You don't get so discouraged and so demotivated so quickly. And so I want this to be a level of encouragement, a source of encouragement to know that whatever goal you have in your mind, right, whatever problem that you have that you can solve through discipline, right? So if you're really bad at socializing with people again, or you really want to be able to talk to girls, or you really want to be the cool, confident guy who can just be the life of the party, start talking to someone who you feel comfortable with, right? Your heart doesn't really beat that much, but it's still like a bit of resistance, So like talking to your next door neighbor, for example, talking to the person at the cash out register, just say, oh, hey, how are you going? Yeah, you having a good day? All you have to really do is just say hello, right? Hello. Like it looks awkward, but like if you just said hello and then that's it, that's less awkward than you being like, hey, how you going? And like being really weird, right? And then over time, then you can start to make the conversations a bit longer. You can start to ask follow-up questions. You can really, take an interest in what they're saying and not script words in your own head, but think on the fly. So set these small challenges for yourself. And then, as I said, speak to people who would naturally challenge you a little bit more. Right? So if someone's busy or whatever. That example is just socializing, right? You can apply this to anything. I want you to get rid of this limiting belief in your mind that, oh, it's just too hard, oh, it takes too much discipline. Oh. Discipline is fun because it's helping you to unlock the version of yourself that you want to be. And you're seeing progress, and that's like so encouraging to know that, yeah, I'm leveling up. I'm becoming better. I'm building self-respect. I'm becoming more confident. That's the power of discipline. Is, you know, a lot of people that have this false belief to think that discipline is some hard thing that no one wants to do. And yeah, sometimes discipline is doing the hard thing. But what is the purpose of discipline? If you really boil it down, why do we go for a run? Why do we eat clean? Why do we read books? It's to ultimately help us level up so that we can then have a more enjoyable life. So discipline is actually, in a weird way, it's a way in which we can live more enjoyable, fulfilling lives. That's how discipline becomes fun, because as you're making progress over time using progressive overload, suddenly we start to see our life improve. And when our life improves, then we're more naturally just happy and just enjoying life. When we're more social than we were 6 months ago, when we're better at, you know, speaking. I've certainly improved making these videos. When we start to make progress in all these different areas, and we level up, and the man that we look in the mirror at, you know, we see that he's tangibly become better because of the small actions he's done daily, the small habits of delayed gratification. When we see that, that's so fulfilling. And that's so much more enjoyable than you sitting there thinking, oh man, like, I can't be bothered running, bro. Like, it just sucks. And just getting all in your own head. It's like, just go for the run. Just do something small and go for it. Right? So this is actually a principle from the book Atomic Habits, right? And inside there's this principle that the author talks about called the 2-minute rule. So whenever you want to start a habit, instead of wanting to do, again, the 5 kilometers, I'm just going to use the running example. Instead of doing 5 kilometers, just do half a kilometer. Do whatever it takes 2 minutes to do. So whatever goal you want to have, and you want to start that habit, just do 2 minutes of that. If you want to start getting into the gym, for example, right? Just get your bag, drive to the gym, pay for your membership, and then leave. Maybe do 1 set of some machine. Then tomorrow, go and do 5 minutes. Then 10, then half an hour, then an hour, then a full session, right? You see, a lot of the thing that's going to stop us from doing that is our ego, right? Because no one likes to say, oh, I ran half a kilometer, right? It's not really, you don't really feel discipline. It's just, yeah, I ran half a kilometer. It's like, yeah, it's just a start, right? But who are you to say that that's not an achievement? Like, you're sitting here, you're not even, you don't do any running at all, right? I'm just assuming that you wanted to get into running, right? You don't even do running. You don't even run, and you're saying that half a kilometer is not that impressive. But it's like, who are you to say that? You don't even run at all. So like, again, you can, like, you're probably laughing at that guy too. You're like, yeah, like, what an idiot. But you're doing the exact same thing with whatever you wanted to start. Right? Are you going out and socializing with people, or are you going out and maybe not going out, but like, are you meditating? You know, you want to have, like, if I asked you, do you want to have improved focus? Do you want to have better mental health? You'd be like, yeah, obviously, right? You're not even meditating. Like, what? You know, do you want to start reading? Well, don't read. You don't have to read a chapter a day. Just read 1 page. Then over time, then you can progressively overload that. You know, for me, when it comes to posting content, my first video was just like me in a park, just talking. It wasn't great. I know it's cringe, but who cares? Like, who literally cares? only you and your ego is going to stop you from wanting to do the things that you really want to do. Just start. Do the 2-minute principle. Start small and progressively overload over time. That's so much better than the guy who loads 60 kilos the first time, gets a bit of a pec tear, gets discouraged, and then quits. Start with just the bar if you have to. Yeah, okay, other people will be like, what a weakling, right? Who cares? In 2 months' time, you'll be benching 40 kilos, and then 60, and then eventually you'll get to 100, and then 100 and beyond. I don't want you to keep procrastinating when, on these specific goals that you have, because you have this certain objective in mind that you want to get to. It's like saying, I want to get to 100 kilos, so I'm not even going to start. I'm not even going to go to the gym because I'm not at 100 kilos yet. There's something called exposure therapy, right? So people with anxiety, basically, instead of, going on medication or whatever, what a therapist might do with someone who has anxiety is they will gradually expose them to the thing that they're scared of, but do so in a safe environment. I think you can understand how this applies to what I'm saying here. You have to gradually expose yourself to the things that you are scared of in order for you to eventually, again, to take this, overcome anxiety, right? So if you had anxiety, you would gradually expose yourself to the thing that makes you anxious until the point where you're comfortable and you can do it easily, right? You're confident. Confidence is just simply becoming more competent at what you want to do, right? So, I assume most of you guys who are watching this probably have your driver's license, or you're able to drive, right? You are much more confident at driving now than you were when you first slapped on your, L plates or whatever, wherever country you're watching this from. The first time you ever drove, right? You're going to be so much more confident now than you were back then, because you practiced, because you were exposed to it. Suddenly you don't really feel scared when you accelerate, because you trust that you're able to control it, right? Because you've had experience. Well, it's the same with, in this case, exposure therapy, right? Being exposed to the thing that makes you feel uncomfortable, so that over time you can gradually become better, right? You gradually get more used to the fear, right? It's the same with progressive overload, right? So whatever goal that you want to have, gradually increase it in a slow and controlled environment. Do it in a way where you still feel comfortable doing it, but you're still doing the thing that's discipline, right? So I'll try and think of an example. Let's just say I'll just use the running example again, right? Maybe you really like a TV show, and so you want to get into running. You really want to watch this TV show, but you're like, I want to watch the TV show, but I know I should do that. Then, what you might do is you might hop on the treadmill, and you might have like your movie playing while you do a light jog on the treadmill, right? Now, obviously, over time, you want to be fully present in the moment and not just mindlessly sit on the treadmill and do that. But at least it's a start. See how you're still in a comfortable environment, right? You may be in your if you've got a treadmill in your garage or something, or you're at the gym and you're in like your own section and you got the movie on. It's still a comfortable environment, but you're doing the thing that wasn't comfortable, right? The discipline, which was to get on the treadmill and do some cardio. So I want you to think of some ways where when you are trying to do what is disciplined, how you can do it gradually in an environment that you feel comfortable in, but you're still moving forward, right? And then over time, then suddenly it's like, yeah, well, getting on the treadmill isn't really a big thing anymore. Now it's like, I'm going to try and run without music. Ooh, right? And then you increase how far you run. And then over time, you'll be able to run 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. You'll be able to run much, much further because you have gradually gotten there. But don't be the person who procrastinates and thinks, running's hard, because in your mind you think you have to do 5 kilometers to somehow be a big enough run. And finally, I want to wrap up with another analogy. I know I've used quite a lot here. But to really nail this point in, right? To really drive this home, I want you to think of progressive overload like you're in a video game. Right? A lot of people, they spend time trying to level up their character in a video game, right? They try to get to, it's been so long since I played video games, but let's just say on Call of Duty, you're trying to get to, I think there's a level called Prestige. I don't know, right? Like, let's just say you're trying to get to Prestige, right? A really high level. And you're going from Bronze to Prestige. Instead of leveling up your Call of Duty character or whatever, right? Or, their guns, weapons, whatever. Instead of leveling up that, level up your own life. So I want you to have this, I want you to have this student mindset where you are just so excited, so curious, so eager to learn and to become better that, with meditation, for example, become prestige in meditation. When it comes to other income skills, right? You want to learn about, marketing, right? Become a student in that. Yeah, you're going to be at bronze right now, but then over time, have that goal, that ambition to want to be a prestige marketer, right? Again, that's just an example. Yeah, I want you to have this childlike enthusiasm when it comes to discipline. Because that's when discipline becomes addictive, is when you constantly see progress and you're constantly thinking of which avenue of life could I improve? How can I make my routine better so I can upgrade in a better way? That's when it starts to become fun. Your life is literally a video game, is when you're just so excited to level up all areas of your life and you're trying to become disciplined in all those fields. It no longer becomes discipline, and that's when you then have to push out your comfort zone a little bit more. And then you get comfortable with that, and then you push it out a little bit more. And then it's like you're constantly making improvements, and then 6-12 months later, you look back and you almost cringe at your past self because of how much further you've gotten. Right? That's the level of excitement I want you to have when it comes to discipline. It's just like you're just so excited to level up. And when you constantly level up, that's when you start to have more self-respect. right? Because the version of you that you become over time, as you become more disciplined, as you start to level up, and you become more confident in all these areas of your life because you become more competent, that's when self-respect comes. And I'm telling you from experience, from someone who had low self-esteem, who would do all these bad habits, and I would just really not like the version. I just hated myself basically. To where I'm at now, where it's like I can smile when I look in the mirror because I know, not in like an egotistical way, but like, or a narcissistic way, but you just know that, yeah, I put in the work to be the person that I am today. And that only comes when you choose to do the habits that reinforce to your identity that you are a disciplined person, that you are someone who is trying to become better and trying to make your life better. So I want you to have that goal in your mind, is what pillars in my life could I improve gradually over time, not drop the ego, not having to have any set goal in your mind that you have to get to, right? But you have a goal to push you over time, gradually, to get to where you want to go. And when you do that, that's when life becomes like a video game. Discipline becomes easy and life just becomes fun because you're constantly getting better in all areas. All right, so if you like what I said, consider subscribing. I'm making videos and I'm progressively overloading how I improve and iterate these. So I hope you can appreciate that. And if you do like these videos, then subscribe, because I'm making more videos on discipline, masculinity, and just becoming an all-round better man. So if you're a young man watching this and you liked what I said, give us a sub and I'll catch you later. Peace. Let's freaking go. I hope that turned out well.